Hearts are often heavy as silent warriors who have given their final day are borne back to their native land. Each day in Vietnam, young Americans put forth a determined effort to stem the unpredictable tide of tyranny. The greater the effort of each day, the greater the total effort, which leads to final victory or defeat.
Sometime on the 26th of this month, you're going to be visiting the Vietnam Traveling Wall at Meadow Park. During that visit, you'll be paying your respect to the memory of 58,183 men and women who died for you and me, protecting our freedoms. I take a very special interest in this wall because 3 of my very close friends were killed over North Vietnam. All of their names are engraved on the wall. During your visit, I'd like to have you promise me one thing. Do your best to protect the honor of those who died in Vietnam. It's important for you to remember that the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who died in Vietnam were protecting your freedoms. Now it's up to us, you and I, to protect their honor.
I just want to say hi to all the boys and girls that are here today. You are this country's future. You're going to become our leaders and our future heroes. Many of the kids here today have grandpas, great-grandpas, grandmas and great-grandmas maybe, that were veterans of Vietnam. Many of you have heard stories from them about what happened in that war. Many of you have never heard anything about the war or the country it was fought in. I believe it's important that you all take the time to at least learn the basics of what happened over there. I believe this only because our fellow Americans gave their lives fighting this war, but also because it's part of this country's history, your country's history. I'm not here to talk about why we went to war. I'm here to tell you that almost every warrior that I served with in Vietnam went to war because their country asked them to go, just as they have in all the wars this country has fought. They didn't go for the money, the glory, or to become heroes. They went for kids just like you. The United States has fought many wars. Most of them were fought to give kids a chance to grow up in a country that have the freedoms that allow us to work, play, pray, how we want and where we want. A country that gives every kid a chance to have a successful, happy life. Be proud Americans.
In the mid-50s, Ho Chi Minh came back to North Vietnam with the sole purpose of removing the Japanese and the French from Vietnam. He subsequently wanted to reunite both North and South Vietnam as one country. As time went on, the French had abandoned their fight in Vietnam along with the Japanese. In 1964, we began to send advisors under Lyndon B. Johnson to Vietnam. One of those advisors was my father with the United States Air Force, William C. Bracken, who was sent to Bien Hoa. In 1965, Lyndon B. Johnson decided to send troops to Vietnam in order to assist the South Vietnamese Army as well as fight. In 1968, I went to Vietnam with the 2nd Battalion, United States, 2nd Battalion, 26th Marines, United States Marine Corps. Following that, my brother also went to Vietnam in 1969. In 1975, the United States, under President Richard Nixon, abandoned the fight in Vietnam and removed all U.S. troops. Following that, the North Vietnamese Army invaded South Vietnam and subsequently captured that, and is now the country that we know today under a communist regime, one country, Vietnam.
Hi everyone, my name is Terry Porter and I'm the Commandant of the Marine Corps League Detachment 1038 in Big Bear Lake, California. Very soon you'll be coming up here to take a look at a moving tribute, a wall, a replica of the one in Washington, D.C. That one was originally conceived and built back in the early 80s. One of the requirements was that it include the names of every man and woman who was lost either through death, as a prisoner of war, or missing in action. It is one of the most visited memorials in Washington, D.C. We realize not everyone can get back there to actually see the wall, and so because of that, the traveling walls come here. The walls include people who became heroes. They're the real heroes. We have many people walking around in uniform and out of uniform who wear medals that they received for heroic actions. But any one of them would be more than proud to tell you that the heroes are actually the ones whose names are on the wall. When the wall comes up here, we'd like you to take the time to get to know these people, realize that they had brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, grandparents. They had lives. They were real people, not just a name on a wall, and that they gave up their tomorrows so that you could have your todays. Thank you.
One more thing I'd like you to remember. This is a solemn visit. Consider the wall to be the cemetery for those 58,000 men and women. Conduct yourselves accordingly.